Yeah, of course. Anyway, that's a trivial exercise to find someone who says that. You'll find Muslims who say that as well. You'll have Muslims, if you were debating like a liberal Muslim instead of me, who would say that, yeah, Islam is all about peace and there's no such thing as jihad. Jihad just means, refraining from eating fattening foods or something like that. Like you'll find people in every single religion who take this same exact strategy that you're taking. It's just dishonest. It's not satisfying. And it's epistemologically destructive for your entire religion. We can't take religions like this seriously. I don't take religions who do this, who liberalize in this way by throwing out their canon, by throwing out the religious text. I don't take them seriously because it's just a matter of convenience. Second of all, the Barbary pirates, you want me to address that? The Muslims understood that the world is a world of limited resources, scarce resources, and all people are going to fight. You keep talking about the Barbary pirates teaching Thomas Jefferson. Do you realize that Thomas Jefferson also had slaves? Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner, and he had no objection to slavery. He actually reproduced with some of his slaves, his sex slaves. So Thomas Jefferson didn't have any moral problem with the Quran because it endorsed slavery. In fact, no one had a moral problem with slavery prior to modern liberalism. Second point, I never said that the Barbary pirates were doing something wrong. The Barbary pirates were engaged in the same kind of conquest and enslavement that the United States was engaged in. The United States, Thomas Jefferson was the president, the commander-in-chief of an imperial army that was subjugating people all over the world. Now, when I say libtard, a libtard is someone like you who lives in the comforts of the West and is living with, or New Zealand, you're in New Zealand, but in the West in general, you're living under the comforts of a very brutal empire, the Western liberal empire that has dominated the world and has created a global economic system that allows you to live peacefully. Once that economic system collapses, which may be very soon, you will as well, all the libtards will realize that, oh, wow, the world is a place of scarcity. And sometimes you have to fight. And sometimes you have to enslave. And sometimes, guess what? Violence is justified. Conquest is justified because it's eat or be eaten. That is the state of the world throughout history. But libtards ignore all that. They live in a fantasy world because they've been infantilized by a system that is built on the backs of millions of people who have been genocided, who have been colonized and destroyed to create this cushy system that you currently enjoy. But this system would not operate if you did not have that history. You couldn't have this kind of view that, oh, we should all just be peaceful and hold hands and sing kumbaya. You wouldn't have that perspective if you didn't live on the basis of this long trail of tears, this long history of war and bloodshed and slavery and killing. Islam recognizes that. As a Muslim, I recognize that we live in the real world, and Islam gives you the correct rules, gives you the correct way to apply just war theory. You're fundamentally misunderstood my entire argument, because at the very beginning I said I conceded that Islam has violence, but it's justified violence. I don't have to disavow anything. I'm not going to disavow the Barbary pirates. I'm not going to disavow slavery. Why should I? They were operating according to the same principles that they needed to operate by, not only to survive, but to establish truth and justice in the world. Yeah, Islam is protecting people. When the Muslims invaded India, they were protecting the Hindus from their human sacrifice rituals, Purusha Meda. They were protecting people from worshiping rapist gods and touching the lingam, the metaphorical penis of Shiva. They were protecting the Indian population from Devadasi, child temple prostitution. Muslims were doing this kind of protection. That conquest is necessary. Of course, I endorse that violence. Of course, it's needed. That's what justice requires. And honestly, if it was Christianity that was wiping out these practices, I would endorse the wiping out of those practices by the hands of Christians as well. And when I look to those texts say, those interpreters say, the scholars of Islam, that yes, jihad is a part of Islam, conquest is a part of Islam, slavery is a part of Islam, blasphemy punishments are a part of Islam, etc., etc.
So in Islam, you can't just rape someone. You have to take them as your concubine, which means you have to feed them. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to feed them, you have to clothe them, you have to take care of them. If you have any children, those children are free and they're your children. The Bible says, take these women and then shave their heads and then marry them. It's not giving humiliate them. It's not giving them an option. So I'm not condemning. Notice, get the logic right, Sam and Jay. I'm not condemning the Bible for slavery. I believe that Islam also endorses slavery. Islam also endorses war, but we don't go as far as Jesus in commanding killing babies like he does in Deuteronomy and Numbers. I don't condemn Christianity or the Bible or Catholicism for this minor marriage, marrying girls as young as 9, 10, 11. I don't condemn that because I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I want your audience to know that you don't find anything wrong with that. You don't find anything wrong with a 12-year-old getting married because that's what the Catholic Church, that's their morality. And that's what this section of the debate is about. It's about morality.